Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today I've got more Orc leaks for you because we're trying to get all of the codex out before Games Workshop officially releases it, because I'm determined to make everyone who works there hate me, apparently. Anyway, so my sources sent me the stuff for the Mekboy Workshop, which Games Workshop confirmed on the Warhammer community site yesterday or the day before, one of the two, whilst announcing that the codex would soon be up for pre-order. We're also going to very briefly talk about the fact that the Orc Boys and Ghazghkull are apparently out of stock on the Games Workshop site. I know a lot of you have been getting excited about that, but I don't think you should. I'll explain why after I've given you the stats for the workshop. So, we actually have points value for this one, by the way, which is nice. So, the Mekboy Workshop is 4 power level with 80 points. Orc structure. After it is set up, a Mekboy Workshop is treated as a terrain feature. It cannot move for any reason, it is not treated as a friendly or enemy model, it cannot be targeted or affected by any attacks or abilities. That's kind of significant. Once it's down, you cannot mess with it. It's just there. You can't touch it, you can't attack it, you can't kill it. It is a thing that is on the board and you can't remove it for any reason by the look of things. Kind of significant, really. It has the Meks Grabbin Klaw. At the start of the fight phase, before any units have been chosen to fight, one Orc infantry from your army that is 1 inch from this model can operate the Mekboy Workshop Grabbin Klaw. If it does so, select an enemy unit that was in 1 inch of this model and roll a d6. On a roll of 4+, that enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. I didn't think that was that good, and then I actually properly read it. If it's at the start of the fight phase before any units have been chosen to fight, that to me suggests that you can essentially just have a 50% chance to throw out d3 mortal wounds before you actually get to the combat itself, which is quite a bit more significant than if you had to trade off having an actual fight with that unit. So that's not bad. I mean, a 50% chance of d3 mortal wounds, even if you only get 1 out of that, that's still 1 more mortal wound than you would have had before, so I quite like that. That's obviously not the main point of the workshop, though. That comes with the custom job stuff. So, custom job, at the end of your movement phase, 1 Orc vehicle from your army that is within 1 inch of this model may receive a custom job. If it does so, then until the end of the turn, that unit cannot shoot or charge, and the attack characteristic of models in that unit are reduced to 1. But you choose and resolve one of the following abilities. So, you can have more speed. Until the end of your next movement phase, increase the move characteristic of models in that unit by 6 inches. In addition, roll a d6. On a 6, add 1 to charge rolls for the rest of the battle. That's pretty good. I quite like the fact that each of these does have a permanent increase of 1 if you're really lucky with your roll. It kind of adds an extra element to it a bit, so that also applies to more rivets. The unit receives d3 lost wounds. If there is a big mech or mech within 1 inch of this model and it has not used its I can never pronounce that. Mechaniac ability. Mechaniac? Who knows? This turn, it can oversee the custom job. If it does so, the unit receives 3 lost wounds instead of d3. Mech cannot use... Oh my god. Mekniak. I give up. Someone in the comments tell me how to pronounce that, because it's just not worth the effort right now, is it? In addition, roll a d6. On a 6, add 1 to the toughness characteristic to models in this unit for the rest of the battle. Again, getting +1 to the toughness characteristic of the model on a d6, that's not bad. And finally, the most important one, obviously, is more dagger. Choose 1 weapon, not a bubble chucker. That's an interesting exception, that a model in the unit is equipped with. The next time any models fire that weapon, the weapon makes the maximum amount of attacks. For example, if a weapon is heavy 2d6, then it fires 12 shots. In addition, roll a d6. On a 6, add 1 to the weapon's damage characteristic for the rest of the battle. A unit can only receive 1 custom job per turn. I'll be honest, out of all of those, getting back lost wounds is good. I do like that. The extra 6 inches movement is good. Adding 1 to the charge rolls is also really good. But for me personally, the third option, more dagger, sticks out the most. I mean, it is just the next time any models fire that weapon. So you could feasibly have a significant amount of firepower just thrown out from one of your units. You'll have to let me know which particular vehicle you reckon that would work best with, or which particular weapon that would work best with, but that really does feel pretty significant. And getting like an extra 1 to the weapons damage characteristic for the rest of the battle. I mean, if you rolled your d6, you got a 6, and you then fired out like 12 shots, but with an extra damage attached to those 12 shots, that's really significant. I quite like the abilities. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure on the model itself, which will be on the screen now. It's okay. It's a little bit sparse. I think you could probably kit bash yourself something that looks a bit more significant, but it does fit the current design of the Orc vehicles. Like with all the new vehicles we've seen, it fits kind of that look very well, but a little part of me can't help but think that it should be a bit meatier, like have a bit more, I don't know, just have a bit more kind of a heavy look to it. The rules are pretty decent though. I think for full power level for 80 points, there's not really a gamble attached to it as such. You are going to end up like not being able to shoot or charge whilst the custom job's being done, which is a little bit of a gamble. But if you position your stuff properly, that shouldn't really be that much of an issue. And the actual benefits you get from using it, I think, outweigh that little disadvantage that you'll have for a short time. I quite like it. It's pretty good. The other thing with the Boyz Ghazghkull going out of stock, I've seen quite a few people mention that and link it to me and kind of suggest, is this something like, are we going to see new models? Are we going to see like actual new entries for the range replacing those things, especially Ghazghkull? There was quite a bit of excitement about the fact he went out of stock. I do not think that those are being replaced. If anything, what we know at the moment is that the Orc Boys are going to be rebased. So instead of having the 25mm bases, I believe they're on before, it's 32mm, which would put them in line with everything else at the moment. So I don't think those boxes are being taken away because we're getting new models. I think they're being repackaged with new bases, which is obviously a lot more disappointing, nowhere near as fun. But if you look at a lot of the images we've seen for the Orc armies that have been shown off during the build-up to the release of the Orc Codex, you'll notice that the Boyz are on bigger bases, and I'm pretty sure Ghazghkull is not on a base that is suitable for the size model he is. I'm pretty sure he's on a very small base comparative to the size of the model itself, so I'm pretty sure that's all that is, which is disappointing. But there's this kind of prevailing thing where it's like as soon as something goes out of stock, the assumption is that that thing is being replaced. Most of the time that's not true. Most of the time, if something's going out of stock, it's because they've temporarily run out of stock, or that thing is being repackaged. I mean, we saw around the release of the Imperial Guard Codex, I think it was actually the Cadians went out of stock for a little while as well. Again, they've come back absolutely no changes at all, I think, except maybe for base size again. So I'm pretty sure that's what's happening this time around. I'd love to be wrong, obviously, but at this point, we're really close to the release of the Codex itself. I have not heard anything about a new Ghazghkull model. I've not heard anything about like new Boyz or anything like that. I've heard nothing about any of the range beyond the new vehicles being replaced or updated, which kind of suggests to me that we're not going to see the rest of the range be replaced or updated. It'd be nice if we did, but to be honest, we're 6 vehicles up on what the Orcs had before. I mean, I know technically they did have the War Track and the War Buggy, but I don't even count those because they are like nearly as old as me, which just, I mean, they're just crap and they shouldn't have been sold for as long as they did anyway. 6 vehicles up isn't bad, and the actual quality of the stuff that we've seen out of them I think is pretty good, and it looks like Games Workshop is definitely pushing people more towards the speed for each side of things, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, because that actual side of the Orc army was not underrepresented because you could kit bash your own stuff, but in terms of models made specifically for that side of the Orcs, they've been horrendously underserved for ages, with like vehicles and models that have been way outdated for a long time. So it would be nice to see the whole lot updated. Realistically, I don't think they will be. I think the 6 vehicles we've got and this Mekboy Workshop is what we're going to have in terms of new models for the Orcs. I know it's not as much as a lot of people were hoping for, but it's still a shed load more than most other armies have got with their new codexes. I mean, when you look at what the other Xenos races especially have got over the, like, however many years we are now into 8, it's like a year and a half or whatever, the Orcs have definitely come out on top in terms of new stuff. So yeah, it may be a little bit disappointing, but realistically they've not exactly had a bad showing for new stuff this time round. So yeah, anyway, that is the Mekboy Workshop, and the fact that Boyz are currently sold out. They won't be sold out for long. I'm pretty sure they're just being repackaged. Let me know what you think about the workshop in the comments down below. And if you've got any particular weapon or vehicle that you reckon this thing could turn into a monster, then again, let me know down in the comments. And also, how the hell do you pronounce the I can't even, it breaks my brain. Mekaniaek. Ek? I can't even say K. I'm going to give up. Thank you very much for watching. The charity thing is still going on, so if you are planning on buying any 40k stuff, any Age of Sigmar stuff, if you use the Element Games link in the description down below, that is an affiliate link. Any money raised through that link will go to charity at the end of October 2018, so please use that if you're considering doing that. Feel free to click any of the shit all over the screen, the Patreon, subscribe, videos, all that stuff. Click it if you like, and don't click if you don't want to, and I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.